Hello, everybody. Before I show you the interview I had with Zack, the creator of Chaos Galaxy, I'd like to also show you some items that I've been working on for the past while, and as CG fans, I hope you like them. The first item I proudly present, the map of the galaxy. This map records all the planets in order from the sun, as well as their respective moons, as well as Archean, as well as Beast of the Black Hole, and even Meteor Stop Off. Of course, this will get updated as we get more moons and stuff that are floating around the galaxy, and this was all done in paint. Also, I have very little art experience, so this might be a little scuffed in some areas, but overall, I hope you like it. The second resource that I have is an official Set 5 checklist. This checklist details all 105 cards, and of course, I tested this, and I'd say the best way to do it, if you print it out, is to fill in the boxes instead of check marking them as it shows more clearly. Of course, you can also do this on digital as well, I guess. Anyways, without further ado, let me show you the interview. Hey everybody, I am here with Zack from the Chaos Galaxy, and today we're just going to interview him on some of his thoughts after releasing Set 5 and stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy it. So, first question, Zack. How do you feel about releasing your 5th set?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, this has been a big one. It's the set that's taken me the longest to make, and I've had quite a journey with it as I was sort of traveling the world whilst I was making it. So it's been really different to the others.
Yeah,
But yeah, it feels great to have released it at the time I wanted to, sort of just before Christmas, and yeah, it's come together well, definitely.
great. Speaking of Mexico, so we know that you did travel around Mexico while finishing Set 5. So how did that affect like the turnout of cards that you made?
I think the turnout it was kind of at the same rate I usually make cards. It's just that instead of my sort of 9 to 5 job getting in the way of me making cards, it was sort of seeing the sights and things. But I managed to sort of turn out cards at the same rate I would do back home. But it was just a lot more inspiration around me all
Yeah,
the time. You sort of look at the world through different eyes when you're in unfamiliar places, and the country's got such a cool sort of history, culture, and art scene that a lot of the ideas and changes to regular cars just came normally.
yeah. Were what was your favorite card inspired by Mexican culture?
I think the Guardian of the Suns.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, it's quite quick to answer that, but there are loads of them that I really like. But I think that for sure, as I was drawing it, I could just sort of tell, like, yeah, this is a beast of a card, and I
Yeah,
think it's kind of translated through to the way the card actually plays. It is a super strong card now.
it is. It is.
I'm slightly disappointed because I drew that first and then was like, oh no, I've got to draw Guardian of the Moons now.
Mm,
And I definitely prefer the sun's artwork to the moon. Um,
yeah,
but they're still, I mean, they're still both strong. But yeah, the Guardian of the Sun's definitely my favorite one.
yeah. Um, and then also, what is your favorite Set 5 card not made by you? So, maybe one from the create a card contest or Gavora.
Yeah, for the Gavora art, I love his rendition of Pelisium. Actually, I think that's amazing. But that's kind of cheating because that was originally my card. So one that he's done, I really love Firebolt Inari. I think that's cool. It's not the kind of card that I'd normally draw. Um, it's quite like a sort of heavily armored creature, and it's got like fur, and I don't tend to do things like that normally. So that's really cool. Um, the create a card contest. It's interesting because I always try and pick from um, different people's strengths in the create a card contest. So like Ushmelo's Zomatl is amazing ability wise. That's one of my favorite abilities in the whole set. Then the artwork on Deep Space Devourer, I think by Lawrence Turper. Hope I've not got that wrong. But that's insane. That's one of the coolest stats I've ever seen.
Yeah, that one's great. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so there's yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of good cards definitely.
yeah, for sure.
Um, so then, what planets did you really most enjoy making cards for this set?
Um, that is a good question. Gaios. I mean, Gaios tends to normally be my favorite. That's my definitely my favorite planet to create cards for.
Mm-hmm.
I think um, Chios. I had a lot of fun with the abilities because I don't know why Chios just happens to be one of, if not my favorite planet to play with. But um, the artwork not so much for that. But yeah, I'd say Gaios. Sindian and Sindel actually. I think because a lot of the stuff is again based on Mexican ideas, and a lot of that is based on sort of
Oh yeah,
gods and devils. It naturally lends itself to the Sindian Sindel split, and normally I do struggle with those planets, especially Sindian, but I really enjoyed for them
yeah,
for set five. Yeah.
that's great. Speaking of struggling with planets, were there any that you struggled with this set?
I think Pelisium, not from the sense where I couldn't come up with ideas. It was just the planet was left in quite a weird spot because of the planetary collections being
Definitely.
released to set four. The planet was so strong. I sort of had ideas already down for the planet, and then released the planetary collections. And after the ban list as well, I was like, whoa, okay, maybe I need to sort of tone things back in. And there's actually a few artworks of cards for Pelisium that I'd made that didn't actually make it into the set, which doesn't happen very often with me.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a struggle, but we'll probably be seeing those in set six.
Sounds great. Um, so we also know that you didn't really make any solid archetypes for set five. You kind of made like the Scardians and the Squazes, but those weren't really like actual archetypes. So did that allow you to think outside the box? Considering that Scardium, the Sun and Moons in particular, is just such a unique concept.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really pleased with the reception that the Squazes and the Scardians have had. I think that I both get a lot of YouTube comments saying that yeah, they're both really good archetypes. But I just think because I remember I think I was doing like a pack opening of set four, and like every card I got in the pack was like, okay, this card's either super specific or just goes for an archetype. And if you're opening this pack as a kid who's saved up for a pack with their pocket money, buy one pack of cards and can't use half of them, it kind of
Yeah,
sucks. So definitely wanted to avoid that.
it's
And yeah,
it.
just sorry, go on.
No, no, you can go.
Okay. And yeah, just simple abilities that I hadn't made for the game yet that I really should have. Like the generic creature that's like when you play this, add a zone to your planet. Like how had I not made that card an ability by set five kind of thing? Um, it's allowed me to sort of tick boxes that I felt I should have ticked earlier when making the game.
Yeah, very true. I'm guessing you're still a fan of archetypes, so hopefully we'll be seeing some true archetypes somewhere, sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I do. I really enjoy making archetypes. Quite often have it well. Just I'll set a weekend aside and just draw like 10 cards all based around the same thing. Have a sort of all behind them. That's still something I really enjoy. But I think now I'll save that more for it's like starter decks, and obviously planetary collections are pretty new. So I can. That's another
Yeah, definitely.
bulk of cards that I can have more archetype focused.
Sweet. Speaking of about some of those archetypes, what was your thought process when making the squazes?
Yeah, so I wanted to make them an archetype, but still have it so you could use them on their own. So, like I said before, you can buy a pack, you can use the squazzes as solo cards, but if you happen to get the one or two cards that tie them all together, that's really cool as well. So, yeah, just generic cards that, and I've made like the space time squaz eater that
Yeah.
ties them all in together,
Um,
which is how I think if I in set six, I'll always be making new archetypes and put small ones in the main sets, but yeah, that's how I'd kind of carry them on in set six, I reckon.
Yeah, and like the art too, like it's like what inspired you for like the art of the squazes?
Um, the squad, I don't really know. It's just I was just like, what's a sort of very generic looking animal that you can kind of lend itself to the different planets, and I don't know, like salamanders or lizards. Always get in video games and things like a fire lizard or like a
Yeah.
water lizard. Yeah, it just seems to work. Kind of like the knights. You can have a knight sort of based around anything really.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can see that. Um, and then what was your thought process with like Super Flooper, and then um, also Gavora made Zenshi the Assigner, and those were both cards that originally originated from your some of your childhood sets. So like, what was your thought process while making Super Flooper, and what are your thoughts on Zenshi the Assigner?
Yeah, Super Flooper. So I've always fed ideas from older games into the Chaos Galaxy. Super Flooper was one of those cards that was always one of my favorite cards in the old games I made, like Cranchon and a few others I'll have mentioned in videos. But um, I don't know why it took me so long because it's obviously such a good fit for Gaios.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good to slowly sort of feed these ideas through. I don't want to release them all in the first set and then just have
It is,
new
yeah.
ideas coming to sort of mix the old and the new. And then Zenshi was just really cool to see Gavora redesign an artwork I'd made when I was like 12 years old. To have someone else do that, I hadn't even asked. It's just sick. So I went with it, and he's definitely made the card his own.
Yeah, it's great. So then you finished making all the Chaos Beasts. What was your thought process in general, just when making them over the past three sets?
I've it was a very sort of organic process. I just made the first one, which was Terracon of Roka. Um, I knew the theme of set three, sort of galactic divide, and then Roka was the sort of odd planet out that didn't take part in the war or whatever, if you know the lore. But
Mm-hmm.
then, so I was like, I need to kind of make Roka a sort of central point in this set. So made this like really epic sort of beast that just representing the planet Roka in a sort of creature form that was really powerful. After making it, I thought, hey, why don't I do this for all the other planets? And then they sort of developed into their own like special type of card, which was the Chaos Beasts. They obviously got a really good reaction in set three when they came out, so yeah, just followed them through all the sets, and yeah, really pleased with how they've all come out. It's not something I've done in a game before, really.
Yeah, and they're definitely hot collector's items.
Yeah, yeah, that's another thing. It's always good to have stuff like that in a game. Um, and I like the theme of them now. They're all sort of based on mythical creatures, apart from Terracon, who's based on a dinosaur because he was just the first one that I made and didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, now we've got everything from hydras to sphinxes.
Yeah. So you did actually make a dinosaur before set five.
I did, yeah. Didn't think of it like that, but I suppose yeah, Terracon's the first dinosaur.
That's kind of funny. Um, going on to more maybe general questions. So, do you ever get overwhelmed when making up new things for CG, and maybe feel like you're on a time limit or something?
I do definitely, yeah. I just kind of you have to not let it get to you and just go at your own pace, really. Like obviously life gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
My work's particularly my full time job's sort of particularly busy. I have to go a month without really making new cards. But I just try and sort of have it so I've always got backup material that I can be putting onto Instagram. Obviously, YouTube's the main thing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just you just kind of got to be organized and be ready for those like slumps or periods where you can't focus on the game very much. which I've gotten used to. Obviously, running the game for 6, 7 years now. Um, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just find ways around it.
Yeah. And then regarding the future, so for lore fans, are you going to go back and make some more lore videos at some point?
Oh, man, I would love to. I did really enjoy making the lore, and I know a lot of people are big fans of it. The story's kind of finished. I can definitely see more chapters coming in the future, but those chapters have to make sense. I'm not going to add more bits onto the lore for the sake of it.
Definitely.
I think that there needs to feel like a need for those extra chapters, because I think forcing it's just the worst thing you can do. Like shoehorning in these weird ideas that just don't feel like the Chaos Galaxy.
That is
Because I've
very
always,
true.
yeah, just gone with what feels right to me for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, gonna stick to my guns on that. But
Yeah, you
yeah,
did.
there is still a couple of unfinished things. Like I know there were the characters on Pelisium that were promised help by Bogabooga that
Yeah.
never got it in the end. So could be a return to like a side mission off to Pelisium or something. Let's see.
um, I definitely think personally that it would be cool to get some more background on maybe some of the cards or some of the archetypes. You've kind of given them some backstory, some of them, but it would be cool to get like kind of solidified backstories for all of them.
Yeah, for sure. I think some archetypes do try and base them around certain ideas that go with the playstyle. I think that works really well. Like and just makes them more appealing to fans as well. Like things like Geosian lava beasts, I think are quite a weak one. They're just literally animals that are themed around lava. But then you look at something like the Palifals archetype, where it's these small tribes, people that worship this great serpent, sacrifice themselves off to play the serpent, and then the theme links to the cards, which I really love.
Yeah, sounds great. So, final question. Do you plan to go back to yearly sets, or are you thinking that it's going to be easier to just do a set every other year?
Um, it's hard to say, man. I'd love to be releasing consistently a set a year. Um, it's tough. It's tough. There's the time constraints, and now the amount of effort and work that goes into each card is a lot higher now than it was in set one. Like if you go back and look at some of the cards from set one, it's like 3 or 4 different colors in a card. There's no sort of
Oh,
blending
yeah.
at all. Way less detail. Um, and I could probably draw like five, 6 cards in a sort of session in an evening. Whereas now it's like I'll draw 2 cards and I'm burnt out for the rest of the day.
Yeah, your art has definitely improved, and I think it's definitely better to do quality over quantity sometimes. Most of the
Yeah,
time, actually.
I, yeah, sure. And I think there's actually just a lot more to deal with now in the game. Like when I was making set one, I was just making set one, whereas now I've got side sets coming out. I've got like tournaments and things to take part in. But there's a lot, yeah, making sort of like promotional material for the game, like holding contests. The game's lot more than just the cards now.
Nice. Any last thoughts about set 5 or anything you would like people to know?
Um, well, I wanted to say I've just really enjoyed your videos watching back. Like after I released the set 5 video showing new cards,
Oh,
loved
thank you.
seeing your breakdowns of them. I think I was really a lot of I know there's a few channels that break them down, but I really like the way you sort of appreciated the art of the cards because that's the bit that takes me the most, the time and effort. So yeah, seeing your star ratings for the artwork was, yeah, I really appreciated that. So thanks.
Oh yeah, and just to know, I think you all of the artworks showed that you improved. Um, yeah, I love all the. I feel like all the artworks were at least uh, pretty good.
Thanks. Yeah, definitely got that. When I got a 5 out of 5 on an artwork from you, I was like, nice, smashed it there. And seeing that Archean got a 15 out of 15 from you, that the ultimate compliment, really.
Yeah, I mean, and those are just my first impressions. I bet as time goes on, I'll love some of those cards a lot more than I initially said I did.
Thank you. Yeah. Also, just wondering from you now at this point, what the meta at the moment? What would you say is looking to shape up as the strongest deck or strongest few decks from set 5? I'm genuinely interested. Like I don't know.
Oh yeah, good question.
Yeah.
Um, of course, to be completely honest, I'm not the most experienced in this realm.
Yeah.
But um, I'd say, I'd say in terms of planets, I think that Roka definitely the Scardians have improved. Roka and have kind of, and could make it really cool to play with. I think the mouth is a fun card to play with for Shios. And then you add some Maddle to that, and it makes it so much more interesting. And then, and then for Sindel, the Skelequeen card, and then also some other cards have brought Sindel, who used to be a strong deck, back on the board again, and that's fun to see. And I think even maybe Gaios might see some play. It already did with 3-star Gaios, but these new cards definitely improve that even further. And then, of course, I think that Archeon of Omnius and just like a bunch of the no planet cards are gonna make a resurgence. So yeah, it's pretty exciting times because it feels like there's a lot of different options.
That's good. Yeah, I feel like you mentioned pretty much every planet there, which is that's my plan: the constant balancing and rebalancing of the planets.
Yeah, yeah. And also just I think that every single planet got one card that will be uh useful, or that will be a good competitive card. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
Nice. Nice.
So thank you for your time, Zach. It was nice chatting with you and getting to know a little more about the behind the scenes process, I guess.
No
Yeah.
worries. Thanks for having me on.
And of course, as always, links will be down below to all the different Chaos Galaxy goodie things. And yeah, I'll see you next time.